Gotta move real fast here. Yep. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglash for the WDMA. We're going to be talking about stories today. And to begin with, we're going to talk about the John Lewis commercial for this year. There's a 30-second, a minute, and a minute and a half version. I'm going to just trim off some of the beginning here because I know that it kind of repeats the first 20 seconds. But let's get going here with it.
All the small
Guys.
things, true care,
Oh,
truth brings.
he's trying to learn to
fine.
skateboard.
Your ride, best trip, always. I know you'll be at my show, watching, waiting.
How did it go?
Yep, nailed it.
Nailed it.
Say it ain't so. I will not go. Turn the lights off.
There we go. Now you can hear better. There you got it going. Here's why. This is what it's all about.
Hey, Annie.
Hi.
Oh, yeah. I skate a bit too.
You want to come in? Oh, it's cool.
108,000 children in the UK
Oh, well,
are in the foster care system.
I'm gonna get some stickers for you.
Okay, that's a tearjerker. Woo! So, what's the backstory? As always, we'll give you something on that. You won't see that commercial in the U.S. probably, except here. It's got 2.25, 2.25 million views. Okay. Oh man, I'm a mess here. I'm a mess. Okay, so last year they had a space alien visit, and I didn't think much of that. And it was a high production value thing, which I didn't think much of that either. But this year they're focusing on the experiences of children living in foster care. Okay, so the middle-aged man has taken up skateboarding because they told him that Ellie, who they were going to be the foster parents of, likes to skateboard. Okay, and so it puts purpose at the heart. You know, and it also shows them putting up the Christmas tree and getting ready, getting the dinner ready and all that. What I really like about this is that John Lewis has been working on a Happier Futures program specifically designed to help foster kids. And they're providing apprenticeships and employment opportunities specifically for those kids, which is like the best thing I can think of practically. I have a friend who was born with fetal alcohol syndrome, and another friend, one of my best friends, adopted this little baby, and you know, he's not a rocket scientist by any stretch, but he's one of the happiest kids you'll ever. Well, now he's 25 or 27 or something. But for the last 10 years or so, he's been working at the local Pick and Save, and everybody loves him there. And you know, he stocks the shelves and stuff. You know, he you know, it's valuable, and so you know, a grocery store can really help get kids started on a path to self-worth, and giving them a job is a really important thing. So what I like about this is that unlike the climate change and some of the Black Lives Matter stuff, this is something, you know, so much of that doesn't really change the world. They raise a lot of money. Where does it go? You know, I mentioned a couple of years back, big thing was in 2020. I think it was Shaquille O'Neal. He was actually helping in a neighborhood that he grew up in. And that's tangible. This John Lewis is tangible. If you want purpose, you want to talk about purpose, let's talk about purpose around where you are. What are you doing around where you are? And I'm as guilty of that as anybody. That I don't do all I could for my neighborhood or my community, but that's think globally, sure, that's fine, but act locally, and that's what I really like about the John Lewis ad. John Lewis has never before tested its full festive ads with customers because it'd be a nightmare to keep it confidential. And I saw when I searched for this, I saw a bunch of John Lewis leaked videos. It got a lot of views and were not anything like John Lewis, or nothing to do with John Lewis. They were just clickbait to get you to watch it. So it is a tradition in the UK to see what the John Lewis ad is going to look like. It gets a lot of views, and I'm really impressed with what they're doing. And it was less expensive to do. Imran Hussain said, the thing that really gets us excited is the seriousness with which John Lewis are working with us on this. It's not a one-year thing. It's a multi-year long commitment, long-term commitment. Really good, and really an issue that a lot of people could help with. And they also mention here I'm trying to get her title right. Customer Director, John Lewis and Partners Customer Director Claire Poynton said that there are no special effects, and we worked with our charity partners and also social workers on making sure the scenes reflected in the right way, because we're not experts in this. I think that's also shows a little humility. It's really good. Now I've got a follow-up from Melanie May. She sent me the link for part 2 of her successful direct mail campaigns. And so that was really wonderful of her to do that. So I'm going to just follow up right away. And this is a mailing. It says, lockdown didn't stop us caring, and we can't stop now. A piece of direct mail has the potential to be read and read again, to be kept and interacted with, shared, and it raised vital income. But what does success look like? Okay. And so this is Susan Ryder, which is the name of a company, I think, and Parkinson's UK. And so Melanie is going to show the mailing piece. This one showed the mailing pieces even in more detail. It's no stopping at Christmas. Good point. Okay. And then they have information about the importance of even just janitorial staff over the holidays. And here we go. Stories from the front line. And this is focused on a nurse that's been there 17 years. And so James Wright is head of public fundraising. He said that they decided to put our colleagues in the limelight for this appeal rather than our beneficiaries. And both are helpful. I did a fundraising letter for the American Heart Association, was the Wisconsin chapter of the American Heart Association, and they'd been talking about the money they'd raised and the programs that they were involved with in the previous year. And I asked him, yeah, but are there any people that actually benefited from this? Tell me about the people. And they told me a few stories, and so we put the stories in my fundraising letter, and it doubled the response, or the funds raised. Now, is that an A/B split? No, but sometimes if you get somebody that has some experience in writing copy, you might be able to double your response rate. It was a new approach for us, but felt right for the moment and allowed us to show how proud we were of our colleagues. We hope this would resonate with our supporters. The direct marketing mailing was complemented by partially addressed mail. I don't know what partially addressed mail is. I think that's like every door direct in the U.S. In other words, it's like rural route member or whatever. Paid and organic social advertising, email, posters, and press advertising, public relations, as well as a drive through our PR and philanthropy teams. We were able to grab the attention of existing and new supporters through nitty-gritty, hard-hitting imagery of our incredible staff delivering care no matter what, with copy describing their resilience and dedication during the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, the DM pack included a letter from Heidi Travis, the chief executive, and she said that as corona cases were rising through autumn months, the only thing that would stop them from providing care was lack of funding. Stories from the front line featured 3 case studies. Anita and her husband, John, who spent the final days supported by Sue Ryder, Rachel, a Sue Ryder nurse of 17 years, and Marianne, a housekeeping supervisor, who showed how vital the support staff were to delivering of care across the organization. We also enclosed a small poster for the window so people could show their support. Our aim was to raise £1 million based on analysis of previous appeals. We also viewed this as an opportunity to increase our supporter base, so look for a solid opt-in to future marketing as well as a response to a hand raiser as a non-financial ask. Always a good idea. Super good. This is super good content right here. Don't just ask for money. Ask for prayer. Ask if you can opt in over there with the GDPR. I'm pleased that the total reached £1,007,000. It's a 007 right there. Just about, and I don't know why it says just about hitting that bold target, because they hit it. £1 million. That was the target. 75% opt-in and over 26,000 signatures. Now, I don't know what the opt-in exactly means, but a lot of times it means, can we talk to you again? Even though that's not generally a requirement in the UK, GDPR, they thought it was going to be a requirement, but if you've been mailing your supporters for decades, you have a compelling interest in keeping in touch, and that's the way your supporters are used to seeing it, so you are usually exempted from that repeated opt-in, but hey, it's still nice to ask, it's still nice to know. Okay, and then the second one is from the Parkinson's Association in the UK, or something like that. Will you help develop a drug that could reduce inflammation? Apparently inflammation exacerbates, there's a good word to try saying live, the Parkinson's symptoms. And 5 incredible years of Parkinson's virtual biotech. Okay, I don't know if the word virtual is so powerful there. It almost sounds like, well, it works in the meta, but it doesn't work in the real world. But Sally Dolton says that this was sent out along a direct mail pack along with an email campaign. We aim to raise £114,000 with an ROI of 3.0, or maybe that would give us an ROI. They sent it to 30,000 warm supporters, many of which, a lot of this audience have Parkinson's, so it's imperative to ensure that we're asking them to fund what would be real tangible benefit to them. So I hope they told stories, right? Let's see if they told stories. What made it successful is how it tied it in with a wider charity message across the website, social media. So it's a sort of omni-channel campaign that they thought created a halo effect. Okay, so as well as the personal copy we were able to include. Now, I'm not sure what the personal copy, I read this twice, and I wasn't sure. It included a variable paragraph to supporters who had funded the launch of the virtual biotech in 2017. This personal touch provided a chance to thank supporters and communicate the previous impact their kind gifts had made. Always good to thank your supporters, right? Although I would like to see more of the story, as we saw in the previous campaign. Anyway, they raised $112,000, which is 95% or 98% of their goal, and so they considered it a big success. So there's some examples of how the mail is being used in the UK. Now to wrap up, I just ran across this little story from the Craig Huey blog, and he emphasizes that you can boost profits by telling stories. And I'm going to call Craig out a little bit. He doesn't usually react to my rants on here, but Craig, I think you kind of missed it on this one. Most of the people, most of the time, buy most of their stuff on emotion and impulse. And that got me thinking. I'm not sure that's true. I need some pajamas because I've got a bunch of frayed pajamas, and I go on eBay and buy some pajamas. Maybe I go on eBay because it isn't emotional. It's just items. I think people go on Amazon for that reason. It's just a collection of items. No, not much hype. And if the item you're looking at has too much hype, you can go and look and find similar items from somebody less hyping. And I go to the grocery store and I need some butter and I need some, salt and flour to make my bread. And, it's not a hype, it's a list. So I would say most of the time people buy what they're in the habit of buying or what they think they should buy. But there's a lot of items that are impulse. There's a lot of items that people do buy because of how they feel. And so I'm not really disagreeing with Craig. I'm just saying I think it's a little overstated in the beginning, a little hype here. And so listing your product features will not make an emotional connection. You must create stories for your customers. I think that John Lewis example is a great one. And the what's this one called? I'm trying to remember the name of this. It's upside down. Sue Ryder, which is apparently a nursing, palliative, neurological, and bereavement support. So it's like hospice stuff, especially hospice stuff. Okay. So anyway, so they went and told stories about their staff, stories about the emotion of the husband, John, passing. Prospect meets products. It's not hero slays dragon stories, but the stories must show how your product solves your customers' problems, which it sounds like they did in the palliative care. The classic line of the guy buying a drill fit here. He doesn't want a drill. What he wants is a hole. But there's no story. You must have been in a hurry, Craig. So somebody called Craig and say, how could you write a blog post about the need for stories and not include one example? Which there isn't. That's all there is. I couldn't believe when I got to the end of it. But anyway, he's right. But luckily for you, you're on this show, and we gave you stories to make the point. So have a great day. Like and share.